I trust the voters of Texas, and they've made their decision, and I must respect it.
President Trump is the leader of our party, and his endorsement in this is the most powerful force in politics. Without a shadow of a doubt, I will be the Democrats' #1 target in November. Texas will be the radical left's #1 priority. But if there's one thing I know about Texans, it's that we're not going to let them take it.
President Trump playing the role of kingmaker in the Texas primaries. Ken Paxton calling President Trump's endorsement the most powerful force in politics as he beat incumbent John Cornyn by more than 20% in the high-stakes GOP Senate runoff in the Lone Star State. Joining us now, talk radio host Larry Elder. Larry, great to see you. Were you surprised by the results? I'm guessing not, but I think that President Trump also proved something to those out there who might be skeptical. The stamp of approval still means everything.
Absolutely. Politicians have a way of being hyperbolic, Jackie, but honestly, the president is throwing a no-hitter. He's eliminated 5 state lawmakers in Indiana, Massey in Kentucky, Bill Cassidy in Louisiana, and now Cornyn in Texas. I've never seen a president in his second term at this juncture still have this much power. He's the most popular within his own party of any two-term president in my lifetime. It's really, really pretty extraordinary.
Yeah.
No, I was not surprised, but I was surprised by the margin.
It's remarkable. And when you really take a look at the numbers now, every single candidate that the president has endorsed in this 2026 primary season, they've won. It's 118 candidates so far in total. How can anyone criticize the power of the president's endorsement?
They really can't. The only criticism will be, of course, that the Democrats believe that Paxton is more beatable than Cornyn, and therefore there'll be a lot of money going after Paxton. He's not wrong about the Democrats making him the #1 target because they do feel they have a shot. I don't think they do, but I think they do. I think this Tallarico has made a lot of bizarre statements, including God is non-binary. He recently said our trans community deserves abortion care as well, whatever that means. I saw a 2019 quote where he questioned whether or not people could respect the American flag. I'm paraphrasing. So there's a lot of stuff, and Trump has made fun of him by calling him a vegan in Texas. Doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And Ken Paxton, as you say, is going to face off against Democrat James Tallarico in November. Paxton says that his Tallarico is a threat to everything that Texans hold dear in the state, and that's really important. You have to remember your audience there, and let's remind the audience of some of Tallarico's far-left extreme stances. Let's watch.
He recognizes that there are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6. God is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
I have met so many Hindus, Buddhists, Sikh, Jews, Muslims, atheists, agnostics who are more Christ-like than some of the Christians I serve with in the Texas legislature.
Our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front and a lock on the door.
Texans don't have an appetite for this, as far as I know, of folks in Texas. And I think that Paxton's messaging is going to be get these sound bites out as much as humanly possible so people can see this, because most reasonable people, if they watch this, will say that representative is not for me.
That's right. He sounds like a Democrat candidate for Senate in California, not Texas.
Right. It's remarkable. Larry Elder, great to have you. Thank you so much.